Hello, this is Christian Okoye, former Kansas City Chiefs. You are listening to Grilling Truth.
Welcome, everybody, to Week 17 of the NFL's Grueling Truth Pick'em Show. Brought to you by, of course, Gridiron Mo, an interactive football app where you get to call what the offense or defense should do during a live NFL game and see what all others have called also. So don't forget to check out Gridiron Mo at www.gridironmo.com. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster, and I want to welcome in, as always, first up, and it is as always it seems, the biggest loser on the Grueling Truth Pick'em Show and in life, Oz Davis, who was 6-10 last week. How you doing, Oz?
How am I the biggest loser in life when the Rams dropped another one to the 49ers?
Because you cheer for
How
them.
am I?
You cheer for the Rams.
Yeah, but I didn't literally lose. So, yeah,
right.
I may be.
Now, usually Mark Cooper's on. I'm going to interrupt you because I've already lost interest in what you're saying because you're the biggest loser.
Fair enough.
But Mark Cooper will send his picks in. He can't be on tonight, but he says go Bucks. All right. Next up. Next up at 8-8 was Ed Cohen, who is unable to be here tonight, probably because he was 8-8. I was 8-8 also, which made me second place behind three people tied for first. So first up, we're going to introduce Matt Andruscavage, who was 9-7 and is now tied for the lead overall on the show.
Yeah, it feels pretty good, but it is also a little sad. When the season's getting close to the end, we won't be doing the Pick'em show that much longer.
Yeah, but we still got like 5 or 6 weeks to go. We got the Super Bowl. Will still be exciting. You don't have to feel so bad.
True.
Maybe we'll just like do a NFL Pick'em show from 1989 where we'll just relive that entire season week by week and pick the games, and the Niners won't suck. Neither would the Rams. But
actually, a fun year.
How about that? Yeah.
Yeah. They will bring in also, who was tied for first last week, Brian Schmidt. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing good, and I continue to go up the polls. I should be now tied for the overall lead. So
you are tied for the overall lead. I just bring it up to Matt because it means so much to Matt, and I didn't think you really cared. But okay, we're all three tied for first.
Hey, it's
everybody here is in first except for one person, and that's the biggest loser, Oz. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, all those weeks ago, Brian, it seemed like, it was told to us so many times we'd be out of it, but here we are.
You are out of it. You don't even know, but you're out of it. All right, so first up, we'll go with the winners last week. We'll start off with Brian. What was your big takeaway, other than the Steelers obviously paid refs again? Go ahead.
Well,
Nice.
Well, first of all, obviously that Steeler-Baltimore game, that was a great game to watch. Even better, the fact that Pittsburgh won and another AFC North title, and Cincinnati will eat their hearts out.
Not really, because we've won it 3 times in the last 5 years. Go ahead.
Yeah, but then y'all go and don't win a playoff game. So.
Yeah, you've won 1 in the last 5 years.
Yeah, it's one more than Cincinnati's won.
Doesn't matter.
But
that's just because you're playing against Marvin Lewis.
Touché.
But also, Dallas and Detroit. It's interesting how Detroit seems to be falling back, and it's funny when you listen to Green Bay people how they're all of a sudden a Super Bowl team, and when it comes down to it, the winner of Detroit and Green Bay, that's going to be great, but I don't see either one of those teams really doing a lot in playoffs. But really, one more week, and then we get to the fun time, which is the playoffs. All
right. Matt?
To me, there was just a real big trending up and a real big trending down. The injuries to Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota just absolutely crippled their teams. Tennessee, granted, they probably would have lost anyways, but still, the fact that I think if they make the playoffs, they're dangerous. But Oakland sitting at 12-3, losing Derek Carr, I don't think anybody sees them winning a playoff game now. It'll be interesting to see what they actually do.
Spencer Ware, too. Spencer Ware.
Yeah.
For Kansas City.
That's right.
He's out, too.
Well, I didn't hear that. He's out? Like, gone for the year?
That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying.
So what is it, Tyreek Hill and or Chandrick West or well, they got a lot of running backs over there, but
yeah.
But that Oakland was definitely a Super Bowl favorite, and now I'm looking at two teams trending up, and that would be Pittsburgh and Atlanta. Atlanta is probably going to take over the number 2 spot. They look really good, and then Pittsburgh, to me, I got to believe they're going to be in the AFC Championship game against the Patriots. So things can sure change in a week.
Well, and I think the way this has played out is the AFC is pretty much New England, and the NFC is about anybody that makes it in there has got a shot. Now, in the AFC, I would give Pittsburgh and Kansas City outside. I just don't see Pittsburgh being able to stop Brady. I mean, defensively, I still think they have questions, but they can outscore people. But you also know Belichick will come up with something in a playoff game. But I agree with you. And I do think the Raiders with McGowan may be able to get lucky and win a playoff game. But their problem is the way this will play out is Houston's going to get destroyed. And then we know what happens from there. Houston ends up getting destroyed. Kansas City goes to New England. Pittsburgh goes to Oakland. I would give Oakland a chance in that game, but I would have picked Oakland if they would have had Derek Carr. Without Derek Carr, I don't think they could score enough points to play with him. Brian?
Yeah, I will say this. Well, Pittsburgh's defense does not excite me at times. They have played better since the New England game. Their secondary's played better. My biggest problem with Pittsburgh is, when it comes to teams like New England, is if you've got a tier 1 or tier 2 quarterback, the top quarterback in the league, they struggle, and that's where the only way they beat New England is they've got to somehow get a couple turnovers, and they've got to outscore them. It's got to be one of those 35-34 kind of deals, because that's the only way they beat New England. Outside of that, I think with the injuries right now in the AFC, I think that very easily the AFC Championship game could be New England and Pittsburgh.
All right, guys, we'll go ahead and we'll start. Oh, wait, I forgot the biggest loser. What was your take this week, Oz?
Oh, well, since I'm the biggest loser, let's talk about some losers. I think that the Cleveland Browns owe me a share of that win. I finally got off their horse in the pick'em round, and then I reverse jinx them right into a win. And I also think I deserve some credit for giving San Francisco the win by picking the stupid frickin' Rams to win that game.
So if I'm understanding this right, you're getting credit for being wrong?
Yes. I'm reversing.
I'm just clarifying. Just making sure I heard this right.
Look, all I've been hearing from a certain guy, we'll call him MG for short, is about how, oh my God, you picked Cleveland for 6 to 8 weeks straight, and then the week you don't pick them, they win. See, I figure it's got to be the reverse jinx. Same thing with the Rams.
You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Well, that too, but I still want part of the credit for that.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the latter.
Cleveland owes me. Cleveland owes me. From a loser to loser, Cleveland owes me.
All right, so from now on, Oz is going to be the Oz Browns Davis.
Oh, come on. Yeah,
he'll be the Browns of the show because he's always in the cellar. He's always in the basement. And there's nothing you can do about that.
I don't need to be. All the Los Angeles teams. Have you looked at the Rams or the Kings or the, anybody playing in Los Angeles? The Lakers?
USC.
Have you seen these guys?
USC's all right.
Yeah.
USC.
But that's not Los Angeles. That's not Los Angeles.
Okay. All right, UCLA basketball then.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not talking college.
Oh,
I'm
okay. You're not.
I think we should just change your name.
Things I like.
We should just change your name to the man behind the curtain.
You know, better tell him bullshit from now on. All right, first game. We will give this to the biggest loser.
That's not
New England at Miami.
Oh, okay. Well, that's an easy one. I'm definitely going with New England here. I think New England's going to blow them out badly enough that we're going to see Jimmy Garoppolo. When you guys talked about the Patriots at the beginning of the show, yeah, looking at these injuries, I believe the road is paved for New England to make this Super Bowl. All they have to do is not beat themselves. And one of the things that nobody's talking about is since they got rid of Jamie Collins, no problems on defense. This defense is playing like an above-average defense, whereas below they were playing below average. Now, I don't know if Collins was a discipline problem. I don't know if it was a signal, shape up or ship out, but it's worked. Patriots are going to win this game, and they're going to the Super Bowl.
All right. Next up, Brian.
Yeah, I'm going to go with New England, but I mean, a lot of that's going to depend upon if Brady plays or whatever. But I mean, as of now, as of today, I mean, I'll go with New England.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, like Brian's saying, it's Tuesday. We're recording this Tuesday, so it's a little tough at this point to have a real clear picture. But I think the Patriots will play because, as Mike and I were talking about earlier, they have to win home field advantage. If they lose and Oakland wins, they don't get home field. And I think they're going to want that. I do think they go all out in this game, at least for 3 quarters. So I would expect New England to win. Maybe not easily. Miami's probably going to give them a fight. I see them giving a fight, but I think New England will get this done.
Yeah. So, Oz, when you say easy, how bad do you think that New England's going to beat Miami?
Oh, I'm thinking around 34-10.
You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind.
Eddie,
you're crazy. I'll tell you, we're picking the first game. And we just had somebody who was 8-8 last week, Ed Cohen, come on. Ed, you want to pick New England, Miami?
All right.
Sure. I will pick New England.
All right. I think we've all agreed on that, but Oz thinks it'll be like 34-10, so we know it'll be a close game.
I mean, it could be, but I think Miami.
My thing is this: what's New England's
real
weak?
Tired of
New England's
New England's
it's their offensive line. And Miami has Cameron Wake. They got Ndamukong Suh. They're going to put pressure on them. I think at the end, though, New England needs the game worse for the 1 seed.
New England. Look, New England's offensive line is so shaky and all this stuff. They've given up 6 sacks in the last 4 games. I mean, that's
what's the weakest part of their team.
Okay.
Now, my other question is this: how many teams with a defensive line like Miami's did they play in those 6 games?
Well, you get 2 against the Jets.
Yeah, the Jets are crap. The Jets haven't been good at anything.
Fair enough.
All right, next game, Jacksonville at Indy. I guess I'll start off with this one. I'll take Indy, I guess. Jacksonville did play a lot better last week, but I'll go with Andrew Luck. Brian?
Yeah, I'll take Indy. I've gone against picking against Jacksonville unless they're playing the Browns.
All right. Ed?
Yeah, I got to agree. I'm going with Indy here. I'm just going to put my money on Andrew Luck in this kind of a game.
Oz?
Yeah, I guess so. I should be going with Jacksonville, but I'm going to reverse jinx the Colts. I'm going to go with the Colts, and that means the Jaguars are going to win.
Well, you actually jinx anybody you pick.
Exactly.
Matt, Jacksonville, Indy. You want to take a shot at taking the lead in the overall Pick'em show by picking the Jaguars?
Not with this game. It's kind of a nothing game, so I'll just take Indy at home to win by, I think, a field goal.
All right, next game, Carolina at Tampa Bay. Ed?
I'm going to go Tampa Bay here. More to play for. I'm going to go with Jameis and the Bucs to get the win in this one.
All right, Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tampa Bay as well. Carolina lost me a long time ago, and I think Tampa Bay's, pretty good team, and I just think Carolina will play this one out and get ready for next year.
Yeah, Tampa Bay still has a shot. They have a shot at a winning season also, which hadn't happened a lot down there. I'm going with them also. Matt?
Yep, Tampa Bay. The thing is because they lost to the Saints last week and because of the way a few other things shook out, I thought they had a better chance at the playoffs, but I read it's basically a 60,000 to 1 odds that they make it because they need so many things.
60,000.
It's what
so you're telling me they got a shot.
Yeah, Washington and the Giants must tie. That's one of the things that has to happen. It's going to be really tough for them to get in. So it's kind of a bummer because I think a few of us here felt Tampa Bay was good enough to be a playoff team. but last week really dealt him a serious blow. But I think they'll be playing at least for pride and for that shot to get in if it all somehow works out. But I think they'll beat the Carolina Panthers.
All right, Oz?
Yeah, I think that you chose the Buccaneers as one of your 3 potential surprise teams at the beginning of the year.
They were.
Yeah, and
the Raiders were also another team I picked.
Yes, I bought the Raiders, I remember. I disagreed with one of them. I agreed with 2 of them. So, but I think, I'm going to go with the Buccaneers to win this game. They're not going to make the playoffs, but, wow, they're going to be fun next year. They're going to be a great team.
Well, I mean, the scary thing is Tennessee, and that's because of what the Rams gave them.
Yeah.
And I know me and Oz were talking off air today. I mean, everybody does realize the Titans will get like the number 5 pick in the draft this year because of the Jared Goff deal.
And the 5th pick of the 3rd round, which isn't too bad either. I mean, that's 69, pick number 69. That's okay too. You know, they'll do fine. That's going to be a great team in a couple of years.
All right, next game, which I think might be interesting, believe it or not. We'll start off with Brian, Chicago at Minnesota.
I'm going to go with Chicago on this. Minnesota. I think the injuries and everything that's going on, and Chicago has played better as of late, and I think this is one where Chicago can get a win. So I'm going to go with Chicago.
All right, Oz.
Well, I was about
Brian, let me remind you, last week you went with Chicago too. Go ahead, Oz.
Yeah, last week I think I went with Chicago too.
Yeah, you both did.
I was just about ready to go all in on Matt Barkley. I liked what he did in his first game, but 5 picks last week. On the other hand, I lost faith in Sam Bradford a long time ago. So I think I'll go with the Bears in this one. I think, as you said in your write-up in the power rankings today, I believe it was, Mike.
That was Matt. Matt does the power rankings.
Oh, okay. In Matt's power rankings today, you wrote that, it's time to clean house. But I think that Barkley might stick around. I think he might be the starter next year.
That could be. Him and Brian Hoyer actually would be interesting.
Right.
Really? Brian Hoyer's interesting?
As a back.
Well, it's be an interesting competition only because Matt Barkley is kind of an unknown.
Yeah, but Barkley has actually played in some games where he threw touchdown passes.
Yeah,
that is true. But Hoyer's a capable quarterback.
Hoyer
I don't know if he sucks.
Yes, he does.
I thought he played pretty well in Houston. I mean, look at the difference with DeAndre Hopkins without Hoyer around. He's got Brock Osweiler.
I think that's more of a DeAndre Hopkins problem than anything else. But Ed, Chicago at Minnesota.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, this one's tough. I'll go Minnesota here. I mean, I think it's a game with minimal importance. I'll go for them to come back, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were. What's the line in that game?
I have no clue. We pick them straight up, so we don't worry about lines. Now, Oz lives in California, so he knows all about lines. Do you know what the line is, Oz?
Usually I check by now.
I did not look at the NFL betting lines or any sort of white lines or anything like that. White lines blow away. We don't do it. So no, I don't know the lines. I'm sorry.
All right, Matt.
Well, I'm not going to say that Oz and Brian are crazy here because I think the Bears could win this, but I just don't feel like I got confident enough. I think the Vikings will play for pride here and edge them out at home.
Yeah, I agree with Matt. I'm going with Mike Zimmer to get him ready to play here. Next game, Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Brian, we'll let you go first since you're a Steelers fan.
Well, I appreciate that. Obviously, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. My hope is seriously that Pittsburgh does not play Ben, does not play Bell, does not play Brown. But even if they do that, they'll certainly be able to do enough to beat the Browns.
All right, Ed?
Yeah, I'm going to go Pittsburgh too. I was happy to see the Browns get that first win, but I don't see them going 2 in a row.
Well, I was hoping they'd go 0-16, but I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. Matt?
Yeah, Pittsburgh should win this even with backups.
All right.
There's no reason to play the starters, but I think they'll win either way.
Here's the question. Oz, what you going to do?
I am going to go with the Steelers, but I do want to ask a question of the coaches. Okay, you guys haven't coached at an NFL level, but here's a situation where game doesn't mean too much, but the guys want to go. Do you play them? I mean, do you play Brown? Do you play Bell? Do you play, Roethlisberger? I mean, a quarter, half a game? Do you play them?
No, because you play the next week anyways. I think that's more of a question. I don't know what Brian thinks. I think it's more of a question for a guy like Bill Belichick, where his guys, if you sit them, have to take 2 weeks off.
Yes, and I think that the starters will play in the Patriots game for at least half the game, no matter what. What do you think, Brian? I mean, do you play your starters?
I think you do limit these guys.
In this particular instance, no, I'm not playing them. You've got to make sure you are plenty healthy going into this game. Now, if it was 2 weeks off, maybe you play them for half. I think New England will play their guys at least a half, or at least until the game's out of hand as quickly as possible. But in this situation, you can't. Again, and we've seen it with Pittsburgh being a great example. We've seen the injuries happen right at the end with Bell. Bell got hurt against Cincinnati. We've seen that happen. You've got to protect these guys as much as possible because, again, this playoff run with the injuries to some of these other teams' quarterbacks, this playoff run very much could lead to, going into playing New England in a one-game situation. You never know what's going to happen. So you don't want to be one of those teams like Oakland that doesn't have your quarterback.
Yeah, and it's already been proven, at least with Oakland. I mean, they have a little faith that McGowan can do something, which I think we all know what happens if Pittsburgh has to play their backup.
Yeah, if Pittsburgh has to play their backup, it's done. It's
Landon Jones.
There is no, and I don't care. You'll hear people out of Pittsburgh and with the Steelers. I mean, we've got faith. We've got faith in Landry Jones, and when they say that, you almost expect them to start chuckling like I just did.
Landry Jones sounds like a character of the old Beverly Hills 90210 from the 90s. If you name your kid Landry, you're just begging for him to get his ass kicked.
Oh, man. Awful first name. Awful.
Now, before we go to the next game, since we got Brian on here, he's a Steeler fan. Number one, do you think Terry Bradshaw can really spell cat if you spot him to C and the T? Number two, what did you think about what his comments on Mike Tomlin?
Well, we're going to cover this tomorrow on Steelers Weekly. I do believe that he can spell cat. However, I think at one point in his life he probably spelled it with a K. But I think now he does actually spell it correctly. I've always been
do you think that's
obviously
just because he Googled it to see how to spell it, just in case somebody asked him?
That could be.
Okay. Go ahead.
I've always been a big Terry Bradshaw fan. Growing up when I was a kid, that was quarterback in the 70s, and as he's been in his announcing, I love listening to him at times. But I did not like or agree with his comments. Is Tomlin, one of the best coaches in the NFL? No. There's one coach who is the top coach in the NFL, and nobody else is in his league right now, and that would be Belichick. However, for all of Tomlin's faults, the bottom line is he's not the worst coach in the NFL. And I think he is more mature. Well, he's a guy that, for all of his faults, the one thing that you can say is, I mean, you look at what Pittsburgh has done in December in his career. He's good at getting them rallied for the big games in December. It's just my biggest problem with him has been what he's done playing sub 500 teams and the undisciplined part of the Steelers, especially early in the middle of the season, and we see it every year. However, for some reason, December rolls around and all of a sudden it changes. But I didn't like his comments. I think the word cheerleader, I think, was probably the part that I didn't like. I think Tomlin's a little bit more than a cheerleader. Now, again, is he the best coach in the NFL now? But,
Brian, for the record, I did not hear specifically what the comments were. What was the gist of what Terry Bradshaw said?
The gist was Bradshaw said that he really doesn't know what Tomlin does as a coach, other than he's a great cheerleader.
Wow.
And I think in seeing when Bradshaw said that, my first take was, I think he really wasn't sure exactly how he wanted to put it, and I think cheerleader kind of came out. It was the wrong thing to say. But and one other thing he said was, I really, I don't know what Tomlin does as far as coaching other than being a cheerleader, and I just. Look, Tomlin has faults. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, I would put him, if you're going to put Belichick as top coach in the NFL, I mean, then I think, there's some other coaches you can put behind that. I would put Tomlin, somewhere in the middle over his career. I don't think he's the worst. I don't think he's the best. I think he's in the middle. But as we've talked about on the Steeler Weekly, I mean, okay, if not Tomlin, who else are you going to get? There's not a lot of great coaches out there unless you're going to take the chance on a young guy.
But wait a sec, I got to get in on this. How can, as a Pittsburgh fan, you not be 1,000% behind Tomlin? I mean, how long has he been coaching this team, and how many times has he made the playoffs? I mean, this is not Jeff Fisher.
Well, here's the thing, No, here's the thing, and you're right. Is I'm not 1,000% behind Tomlin. There's just a lot of things from a coaching standpoint that I see game in, game out.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, you're a professional. I get that.
But the thing about he's won game. But here's the thing: is if you look at the two Super Bowls, the one especially, with against Seattle, that was done primarily with Cowher's guys.
And officials.
Sure.
And the thing that a lot of people don't think about, he also had a guy on that coaching staff by the name of Dick LeBeau, who was a defensive coordinator, who, that defense was a lot of talent, and you had a great coach in LeBeau. So that was that he walked into that situation, and fortunately, had a guy by the name of Ben Roethlisberger who, even though he didn't have a great Super Bowl, was the quarterback that, kind of got him into that. And they had a great running game, Bettis, and they had a lot of things going that way.
That was Cowher's last year.
Yeah, Bettis was Cowher's last year.
You're right.
The Super Bowl 40, Roethlisberger didn't play well. 43 did. And I'll tell you, my thing is this. When I watch him coach, he reminds me of Marvin Lewis. And the thing is this, with his own guys, in the last 5 years, the only time he won a playoff game is when he played Marvin Lewis. I mean, they make some calls, some judgment calls that just make you wonder what the hell they're doing, going for two in the first half. And with both of them, you very rarely watch a Bengal or a Steeler game where they got all three timeouts in the last 2 minutes of any half.
And that's another thing with his time management at times is very poor. Some of the decisions he makes, one of the things that people talked about, obviously we saw this earlier this year, the going for two thing. I have defended him on that at times because I like the fact that there are times when he is aggressive. However, there are times when Tomlin at times is a little bit too aggressive. That whole going for 2 thing against Dallas, the first time out of the chute trying to make it 8-0, I agreed with that. But after that, stop chasing points. Because
in the game, would they lose it by 4 or 5?
Yeah, they ended up losing it by 4, and they missed, I believe, 5 or 6 2-point conversions.
But here's the thing. Okay, now you're not going to like it, but by the hard numbers, okay, you get more points if you go for 2 every time. Now, okay, I admit that's just the hard numbers.
Yeah, that's hard numbers over an entire season.
Right.
If you get in the game and you miss one, you miss another one, and then you really put yourself behind the 8 ball.
Right. See, I get that.
And those hard numbers, Oz, are guys usually going for 2 at the end of a game. They're not hard numbers going all the way through the game, so you don't really have statistical comparisons.
Right.
Most of those are fourth quarter.
See, Tomlin's doing you a service. He's filling in those numbers for you.
Yeah, but the problem is this. As a coach, I don't know about Brian, but if I'm calling the offense, I've got 3 or 4 2-point plays that I really like. And when I go for 2 all the time, if I go for 2 the first 2 or 3 games, well, I got to come up with some more plays, and he doesn't, and he runs the same plays from what I've seen. Correct me if I'm wrong. You've seen more Steeler games than I have, Brian, but it gets to the point where everybody kind of knows what's coming just from the formation you're in.
Yeah, and a lot of that is because they last year they had a lot of success going for 2, the unconventional going for 2 their own game. The problem is when you look at this year, and that's been where the comparison has been. When you see a lot of the formations and stuff, you kind of know what's coming. Because again, when you're going for 2, because it's such a tight field, there's really only so many things you can do. So by formation, you start understanding, okay, well, they can do this, this, or this. By this formation, they can only do this, this, this. You always hear, it's sometimes easier to play defense in a condensed field than it is in a more open field. So that's why he's so aggressive with his play calling, and wanting to go for 2, but sometimes a little bit too aggressive. I didn't mind against Dallas going for 2 right out of the chute because we've done that before. But once you don't get that, you can't chase points, because in chasing points, now once you miss the next 2-point conversion,
you just dig yourself
now.
Yeah, right.
Now you almost have to go for 2 at that point. Now the third time you go for 2 and you don't get it, in effect, you've just now cost yourself a touchdown, because you're not only are you out a field goal, which would have been the extra points, but if you would have gotten all those 2-point conversions, that's like having another touchdown. Well, now you've got nothing. So now, not only are you screwed from a field goal standpoint, you're screwed from having 6 points. So it just makes it worse, and I think that's where situations like that is why he's not considered a great coach, is because first of all, if Belichick's going for 2 to start out a game and he doesn't get it, I guarantee you he's kicking the extra point the next time.
Well, I guarantee if he goes for 2, it makes sense because it's Bill Belichick. And see, I think this. You know yourself as a Steeler fan, most Steeler fans wanted Bill Cowher gone almost the entire time he was there. And the problem, I think, with Steeler fans is they get spoiled because they had Chuck Noll, who to me is one of the 3 or 4 greatest coaches that ever lived there for damn near 3 decades.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to live up to that. It's like Indiana. You go coach at Indiana basketball. I mean, you make a Final Four, a Sweet 16, 5 years later, you ain't won a national title. They want to run your ass out of town because they were used to what Bobby Knight did. The same thing at UCLA. I mean, they ran off how many good basketball coaches because they didn't win 7 in a row like John Wooden did.
Yep. So pity the next head coach of the New England Patriots, eh?
Who?
Pity the next coach of the New England Patriots.
That guy can't win. It was like the Green Bay Packers. Dan Devine, Zeke Brodkar, who was the guy? I don't even remember. Phil Bankston was the coach after Lombardi. Yeah. Bankston failed miserably. They ran him out of town. Dan Devine comes in, takes him to the playoffs in 1972, has a bad year after that, and they run his ass out of town immediately. Dan Devine was a great football coach. You know, Dan Devine was a hell of a football coach. Won a national championship at Notre Dame after that. Ended up probably better off at Notre Dame anyways, because who wants to live in Green Bay, Wisconsin? But that'll bring us to the next game. I don't know why it does, but it does. We got the Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. Oz?
Oh, wow, it's the Rex Ryan Bowl. Hey, look on his works and despair. I guess I'll go with the Bills because.
Will Rex even be there for this game? Because I saw today he was fired, and I saw that he wasn't.
No, he's.
Well, he wasn't.
He's gone. No, he's gone.
I don't know. I think both the Ryans are gone.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it should be in a perfect world. Ed.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Jets here. With the Ryans just being fired, I think with some of the young guys will step up for the Jets and they'll come out with the win this week.
All right, Oz, who'd you pick?
I'll go with the Bills, just for the hell of it.
Okay, Oz with the Bills, Ed with the Jets, Brian with the...
I'm going to go with the Jets. The Bills being full turmoil, I think the Jets will sneak one out the end.
All righty. Matt?
Gosh. Can I pick neither? This is ugly.
Yes, you can.
I hope both.
You will lose a half game.
I would automatically lose, though.
Matt has chosen to pass, so I will go next.
I'm actually going to go with the Jets here. I think the Bills have some trouble. I think the Jets. This will be a real ugly game, but I'll just take the Jets with a field goal.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Jets. Why would I go with the Jets here?
I wanted to go with the Bills, but then Oz took them.
Can I change my pick?
Jesus.
Can I change my pick?
Yeah,
I want to go with
you can change your pick, sissy pants.
I'm going to go with a tie. That's not.
You're going with a tie.
I'm
Okay, Oz is going with a tie.
So everybody else loses, and then Oz will win if that happens.
Right.
Well, it has to be a tie, though.
I've tried this once
before.
before.
Team wins.
I've tried this once before.
And you almost got it, if I remember right.
Yeah, the San Francisco game.
What about this? What if all the Bills players really wanted Rex gone?
Well, I guess the Bills will win.
Isn't he supposed to be a nice guy? Don't the players love him? Isn't that the word?
I don't know about that.
Well, owners don't seem to love him.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see. I guess I got to pick this game. What did the Jets do last week? I don't even remember.
They got slacked by the
Patriots. They got smoked by the Patriots.
And the Bills do have a legitimate quarterback and running back.
And receiver now. Sammy is back.
I think I read a report about E.J. Manuel playing.
Yeah, Manuel.
All right, then I'm going to go with the Jets. All right, here's my pick.
Yeah, E.J. Manuel's not very good.
I don't think he's that bad. You'd love to have him in San Francisco or L.A. Next
game.
Oh,
I'm not going to deny that.
Everybody pick this game.
Well, we'll take Kaepernick. Send him over here, man. If you don't want Cap, we'll take him.
All right. As long as you don't send Jared Goff back, they may do it. All right, next game. Ed, we'll let you go first. Dallas at Philadelphia. And why are they not going to play Romo? Because if they need him in the playoffs for some reason, he's going to not play it all year.
Yeah, no, I would like to see Romo get some snaps for sure. I mean, it's been a long time since he's played a significant amount of football. I mean, we're talking, well over a year. So, I mean, you definitely like to see him get in and get some reps under his belt. But I'm still going to go with Dallas here. I mean, not much to play for, but I'll stick with my boys here.
All right, Matt.
Boy, is in Philly. I gotta believe Dallas ain't gonna be playing their starters very much. They got nothing to play for. Jeez. I'm gonna say Dallas gets out to a lead and Philly comes back and wins it.
All right. I agree with Matt, actually. I think this is fairly easy to do. If Dallas plays their starters to win the game, they may win the game, but they're crazy. Especially, I would not have Ezekiel Elliott even in the state of Pennsylvania.
No,
Brian?
I wouldn't even.
I wouldn't even let him come into state. I wouldn't let Dak Prescott come into state. I know they got an extra bye week, but this is the thing. These are both rookies that have never played this many games. Would it be that bad of a thing to sit them for an extra week?
Well, even if they don't play, though, I mean, you got McFadden back there who certainly knows the but I mean, it's not like he can certainly carry the load, and if Romo's in there, I'm not doubting that having those guys in as replacements are not capable to win. I mean, is the line going to play? That's where the game's won. That's why the Cowboys are so successful. It's because of what they do to you in the trenches.
Well, remember,
hey, Ed, I got a question for you, Ed.
With everybody playing, Philadelphia almost beat them in Dallas, and I think Philadelphia is a solid team. They're just young.
No, absolutely. Right. But each game is its own. I'm not concerned about what happened last game. I'm thinking, that the Eagles are out as well. I'm looking at it more of a standpoint. Guys are out there playing for jobs at this point. I mean, this game has no significance to the season's outcome.
Ed, do you think that it would be good of Dallas to give Tony Romo some time to at least get some snaps in to kind of? It's almost like a half getting him ready for the playoffs and half maybe like a send off because he may never play in a Cowboys uniform again.
Absolutely. I think that I'm hoping that I get to see some of Romo this week. Just because there's nothing to gain from the win. Maybe you get Dak and those guys some time early, but I think overall it's important to get Romo a little bit of time under his belt. I guess from the significance of of what he's been to us over the years. I guess I didn't even consider that, but that's actually a good point. I mean, there's the likelihood of him wearing a Cowboys jersey past this season, you're right, are slim. So I think that would be a good send-off. But
my
more
question
importantly,
is this, though, Ed. What happens if Romo comes out and throws 4 touchdown passes in the second half? Doesn't that put more pressure on Dak?
A lot of people actually have been asking me that, and at this point, you're to the point of no return. There's no Dak's your guy. If that happens, great. I don't think it puts the pressure on him. I mean, if Dak threw three touchdowns, no turnovers in this past game. I mean, he's been playing absolutely great since his lackluster performance against the Giants, and I like the way they're looking going into the playoffs, honestly.
All right, Brian.
Okay, I got a question for you.
Hold on, Oz always has a freaking question. He can't go. Go ahead, Oz.
Can I get okay? Well, for me, the question is this then: how good, Ed, do you estimate is your second team? Because we're going to see a lot of the second team. If not for the whole game, we're going to see it for most of the game. How good are your backups?
Well, I think that's a good question. I think that the Cowboys are pretty deep as far as a lot of the key positions. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of young guys. I don't see everybody getting benched. I mean, are they going to bench? Is it going to be every second stringer at every position? I don't see that. I think guys are going to come out. Guys are going to play. If you see Dak get taken out or Zeke get taken out, I mean but I don't see some of the linemen getting taken out early or for that matter. So and that's what it comes down to. I mean, I think that we are going to see some reserves come in, and that's great. But at the end of the day, I think the Cowboys are going to get the win. I mean, maybe it's a biased pick, but with neither team having much to play for, I'll put my money on the Cowboys.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys for the win too. I'll say the Cowboys win as well. You sold me.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I want to go with the Eagles only because I don't believe that. If I'm the Cowboys, I agree. Prescott, Elliott, they should not even be on the plane. But because of that offensive line and Romo plays, Romo's certainly not a scrub. I would be thrilled to have Romo as my backup quarterback in Pittsburgh as opposed to what we have. So I think Dallas will be able to do enough to win that game.
Well, and the problem is, even though the O-line's that good, Derek Carr's O-line's really good, too. It only took one guy missing one block to pretty much end their season.
Yep.
But, all right. Next game, Houston at Tennessee. Matt.
Well, I was hoping this was going to be a really good game, vaulting Houston to the playoffs, or Tennessee to the playoffs. But I don't know who is Tennessee's backup. I don't even know who it is.
Isn't it Matt Castle?
Oh, it is. You're right. It is Matt Castle. He's capable at times. I mean, a lot of times he's really terrible, though. Boy, I don't think Houston's very good at all. They wrapped up I think Tennessee can win this game. DeMarco Murray can run. I think they'll play for pride, and it's at home. I think Tennessee can win this game.
All right, Brian.
You almost convinced me to take Tennessee.
Almost, huh?
Almost, because I absolutely – Houston just – boy, they are – A, they're hard to watch. B, I agree, they're just not very good.
I think they are a good team. I just think they have no quarterback play whatsoever.
Well, they have no
quarterback would be better.
Right.
Yeah.
Defensively, they're good. If Arian Foster's healthy, they can run the ball.
Yeah, but without quarterback play, it's just hard to watch these teams.
Right.
And their quarterback play has been so bad. With that, though, I'm gonna go with Houston. I think with the injury in Tennessee and a lot of that happened, that's just sometimes, especially when you're in week 17, it's just hard to really get over. I mean, Tennessee was on a roll. They were looking good, and now you get that injury, and now everybody's going, oh, man, and you don't want to play. So I think Houston will win. It won't be surprised if Tennessee wins, but I'm going to go with Houston.
All right, Ed.
Yeah, I agree. I think that that was such a big blow to lose your guy and see your hopes for the playoffs go out the window. I'm going Houston to win.
Oz.
Okay, I'm going to go for Matt Castle and the Tennessee Titans. And here's why.
Man, can I change my pick?
Oh, come on, man. You're bumming me out. I'm not wrong 100% of the time.
You're like
65%.
poison. You're like kryptonite to winning.
Oh, you are.
He is the Sports Illustrated curse.
Matt, why are you
You're like
so
the
bad to
Madden
me?
curse. You can't. No,
Right,
don't put my team on
I know
Oz's
Matt
cover.
interrupted you, so you could just tell him to shut up. But
Why you do me like that, Matt? Okay. Look, here's why. Because I believe that the universe is just. I don't believe that Houston is a 10-6 team, which they would be if they won this game. I mean, I think 9-7 is more realistic. Okay, I think that number balances out. I think Houston loses this game. Tennessee wins.
You're going.
And by the way, wait, I wanted to drop this one in too. Houston is 2-5 on the road. They're 7-1 at home this season. So
they're on the road.
This is another strike against them.
Isn't this in Tennessee?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going with the Titans. Yeah, Houston. Houston is 7-1.
I'm going with the Titans too. I just think the Titans are better. They screwed up against Jacksonville. I think they're better. Next game, Baltimore at Cincinnati. I don't really care.
For the record, I am staying with Tennessee in that game.
Well, you are. You already picked them. You can't change it. Only one person ever wanted
I'm just
to
making
do
sure that you know that. But I was hoping I was going to take Houston.
All right, Baltimore at Cincinnati, Matt.
Come on.
I'll go Baltimore. They're a better team. It wouldn't shock me if Cincinnati won this game.
The Bengals are just beat up.
What?
The Bengals just don't have anybody left to play.
Well, at this point, Baltimore is a better team, and they got a way better coach.
AFC North for the Bengals. Go ahead.
I wouldn't shock me if Cincinnati did win this game, being at home. But I don't know. They're just very lackluster to me. I think Baltimore wins the game.
Yeah, I agree. Baltimore's got a better coach, so I'll go with that. Plus, I mean, the Bengals are still, it looks like it'll play without Eifert, I don't know if Burfict's 50-50 and A.J. Green's out. Brian?
A lot of injuries.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Baltimore. I just think with the injuries with Cincinnati and, now I guess there's rumors that Marvin Lewis is going to retire at the end of the year.
Not going anywhere. There's rumors about people that know nothing. Marvin Lewis is not
going to die on the sideline.
Marvin Lewis will never leave. Marvin Lewis, when he's dead, they'll prop his corpse up and keep him coaching. Because they won't have to pay him then either, which makes Mike Brown like him even more. That's people just wishful thinking, Brian.
I know. I'm sorry, but Well, I'll go with Baltimore.
Him and Mike Tomlin will be sitting in a nursing home someday as the Bengals Steelers coach is wasting timeouts. All right, Ed, Baltimore, Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm going Baltimore. I think they're just going to have the better guys on the field. I think they'll get the win.
Now, see, Ed phrased that the proper way. Ed gets a half a point for that. All right, Oz.
Well, I wanted to help out Matt here and go against him, but I can't. Everybody else is going Baltimore. I'm going Baltimore. Baltimore's going to win. And by the way, Mike, your primary problem right now is you're in denial. See, me and Matt have already gotten over that. We can admit our teams
but your teams have sucked for a while now, especially yours.
Yes, but your team sucks now, too. And it's okay to admit that. The season's almost over.
My team has still won, about as many games as you guys have won combined.
Yes, but we're not here to talk about the past.
Plus, we don't get embarrassed 42-0 all the time like you guys. At least when we watch a game, it goes to the end. Of course, we lose in a different way.
42-0.
Well, the Rams, 42-13. I'm sorry, and you guys lost the game like that too, I believe. I believe the same team beat the hell out of both of you too.
It is possible. So we did have to play the Patriots.
Well, no, I think it was Atlanta. Didn't Atlanta trash you both, or did you guys give
Oh,
Atlanta?
Yeah, Atlanta destroyed us.
That's right.
That's for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Kansas City at San Diego, Brian.
All right.
I'm going to go with Kansas City.
Yeah, because they're still playing for a division title, aren't they?
Yep.
All right, Ed?
Yeah, I'm going to go KC for that exact reason. I don't know. I think they're going to come out and they're going to have their sights set on winning that division, assuming that Oakland loses. So I'm going to go with KC.
Yeah, I'm going with KC for that reason, too. Phillip Rivers still scares me. You never know when the dude's going to go off and throw 5 touchdown passes and win a game he shouldn't. But, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Phillip Rivers, that potentially could happen, but I think Kansas City will get this done. It's looking like might be a short-lived playoffs, though, for them. They seem to have some injuries piling up. They'll probably win their first game, but then that might be the end of the road. But they got a lot to play for. They get the division. Isn't there still a good possibility they could get the number 2 spot?
Yes. Yes.
If
they win and Oakland loses, they're number 2.
Wow. Yeah, that is very interesting. They
win the West,
number
they're
2
number
spot.
2.
They get some rest in, but I think that's a lot to play for. I think they'll win the game.
All right, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, sure. Nah, you know what? Okay, what the hell? I'll go for the upset. I'll say the Chargers win. They're at home.
Is the universe just?
Again, this is just one of those wacky random things. Rivers does go off. He scores a lot of points. He denies the Chiefs that number 2 seat. So what? They win in the first round anyway, and then they lose in the next round of the Patriots.
All righty, so the next game, one of the few interesting games of the week, Oakland at Denver, and we'll go with the wonderful Wizard of Loss to start us off.
All right. Ooh, see, now
Wizard of Loss.
I like that. That's nice. Okay.
Hey, Oz, before you start, make this long. I got to go to the bathroom, so make this long.
Actually, I don't
think that's going to be a problem.
I don't have much here, honestly. Okay, so McGloin is going to be starting at quarterback for the Raiders. I say that, it's not like they lose all their weapons, and the running game has evolved throughout the year to this, weapon that it is now that's really nice that we expected at the beginning of the year. But on the other hand, I think there's going to be an adjustment period. I think the Broncos are going to be ornery. I think they're going to want to win to close the season. I'm going to go with the Broncos, winning at home.
All right. I'm going to go with Oakland. I think Denver has one of the worst offensive lines in football. I think Khalil Mack and them will be all over them. They still got a shot at a 2 seed, and they still have to win the division. So I'm going with Oakland. Ed?
Yeah, you know what? I don't see Oakland rolling over. I see them coming out and playing hard, but I just don't know. I think the defense might be too much for a Matt McGloin-led offense. I'm going to go with Denver here.
All right.
Okay, Matt.
Very tough game. But yeah, I like the aggressiveness of Oakland. They got to know that everyone's picking them to be done. And I think that can really fire a team up. I'm not a coach, but I got to believe Mike, you and Brian, I got to believe if this was a situation where you're in the driver's seat and you lose your quarterback and everyone's picking against you, I got to believe you're getting your teams up for a game like this. But you can still win the division and still have a shot. So I think the Raiders are going to be up for this game, and they're going to find a way to win.
All right, Brian, you back from the potty yet?
Yep, I'm back from the potty. Good job, Oz. I appreciate it. And it was good that I got to go last on this one because I had no idea who I wanted to pick on this one. And I'm going to go with Denver only because that adjustment with Oakland not having their quarterback, and it's in Denver, and this is being a rivalry, and Denver's going to want to knock Oakland out of that number 2 spot. So I'm going to go with Denver on this one.
All right, Matt, we'll let you pick your team here if you want. Seattle at San Francisco.
I thought this was in Seattle for some reason. Well, I don't know that changes anything.
It's
Seattle
in
has
San
a lot to play for here. Yeah, I don't really think it's going to help much. Seattle's got a lot to play for here. They haven't played well as of late. Losing the big game against the Packers and then losing pretty much, I would say, a stunner to the Cardinals. They expected to win. They missed that extra point. They know they got to win this game. I mean, they're in the playoffs, but boy, they still got a chance at that number 2 spot. They have to win. So there's not much to analyze here. They should do just fine.
Yeah, I agree with you. Oz, you want to pick the upset?
No. Obviously, I'm going to go with the Seahawks here. One of the rules of the 2016 season is the only team the 49ers can beat is the Rams. So, Seahawks.
Ed.
Yeah, no upset here. No upset here. I like the Seahawks to come in and win. I am alarmed at the up and down play, though, the sporadic play. I mean, one minute that offense looks, awful. The next minute, they're lighting it up. So it's, what team are we going to see in the playoffs?
Ryan.
I am going to go with Seahawks, and it will not be close.
So, a typical Niner game, unless they're playing the Rams. Oz, Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, well, I'll take the Rams. No.
All right, Matt.
No.
You picked it. Everybody heard it.
Yeah, clearly that was a joke. Clearly, Mike.
Most of your picks are. That's why I figured I'd just go ahead and write it down.
Oh, burn. Oh, Mike, you wound me.
So you go pick the game?
I did. Cardinals.
Okay, so you're going with the Rams.
No way I'm going to pick the Rams. No way.
You just said the Rams. You've not once said the Cardinals.
I'm confused now.
It was sarcasm. You're confused now. Okay. Stay with me, okay? Here we
I'm
go.
going with them too, Brian.
There you go.
So the Rams are playing the Ball State. So the Rams are playing the Ball State Cardinals.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm going with the Ball State Cardinals then.
All right, Ed, Ball State or the Rams? Ed?
Oh, sorry, I didn't. Yeah, I'm going with the Cardinals as well.
So Ed's going with Ball State over the Rams also. Matt?
Yep, count me in for Ball State.
All right. Next game. This could actually be interesting. Brian, New Orleans at Atlanta.
Oh.
Does Atlanta play for anything this week?
Yeah. They can get the number 2 seed if they win.
Fluid. They're playing for the 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Atlanta. If Atlanta wasn't really playing for anything, maybe I'd go the other way. But I'm going to go with Atlanta.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're a very dangerous team right now. Their defense seems to be playing better too. Ed?
Yeah, I'm going with Atlanta too. They do. I'm sure you want to. They're going to come out there and play hard because they're going to want to book that bye. So I think that they're going to come out and win a shootout.
All right, Matt?
Yeah, Atlanta should win this game. But I agree with you, though. I think New Orleans could give them a fight.
Well, they got Drew
even though
Brees.
It's on the road.
So.
Yeah, I mean, right. Drew Brees has even played well on the road at times this year. I don't think this is going to be easy at all for Atlanta. They're going to get New Orleans' best effort. But I think Atlanta. I believe Julio Jones is. I think he's back. I think he played last week. He's obviously going to be getting healthier. They got Tevin Coleman back. To me, that offense is hitting another gear, and they need this game for the number 2 spot. So I'm going to go Atlanta here.
All right, Oz?
Yeah, I have to go with the majority, and I think that it's time to wake up and not go to sleep on the Falcons in the playoffs. I think they're going to go far. They're heating up.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
All right, next game, Matt. Giants at Washington. Or hell, I'll pick that first. I was supposed to take it first. Don't pick it. Giants at Washington. I tried to make it even since we're all 3 tied, so I tried to take the 3 toughest games and pick them first myself, so you couldn't cry and whine like you normally do, Matt. Giants at Washington. I'm going to take the Redskins just because they're playing for something.
Cry and whine. Yes, I'm taking the Redskins too. I don't think the Giants have any ability to move up or down here. I think they'll give the Redskins a battle just because it's a divisional game. And they know they could keep the Redskins out of the playoffs if they win. But I think the Redskins, with a lot to play for, their offense is very good. I think they're going to get a good effort and win the game.
All right. Oz.
Well, Washington was seriously aggressive on defense last week. I was really impressed with that. So I think that they're going to give this seriously weak Giants offensive line fits. Yeah, I'll go with Washington at home.
Brian?
Going with Washington. Got a lot to play for. Big game, and I like the way Washington's been playing. So I agree with you guys. I'm going to go with Washington.
Ed?
Yeah, I'm on board with you guys. I'm going with Washington. Need to win this game, have any chance. And I like Kirk Cousins to air the ball out. I don't see that Giants offense scoring with them, honestly.
All right, now we go to the game of the week, the Detroit Lions at the Green Bay Packers. We'll just go in reverse order from what we just did. Ed?
I'm going Green Bay, man. Aaron Rodgers is playing lights out. He's looked like the MVP, this latter part of the year, and I think that they're too hot right now. They're going to win and win the division. All
right, Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Green Bay as well. I just think they're a hot team. Rodgers is hot. And with Green Bay and Rodgers, especially at this point of the season, they're playing for something and they're used to playing for something. So Detroit's not really been there. So I think the advantage is Green Bay.
Oz?
Okay, so the lucky streak for the Lions is probably over. I mean, they've had bad losses to Dallas last week, Giants the week before. I think they've scored single digits in full. It's like they've forgotten how to score.
21 yesterday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Unless that's not double digits in liberal California.
Sorry. I messed it up. I mean, I'm just very disappointed at these beatdowns that they've been getting. It's like they've forgotten how to score. Their running game has never materialized. I don't think they're going to go far in the playoffs. After all, I have to back down, but I'm not going to get off the horse. I'm going to go with the Lions here. I'm going to say they win and get in the playoffs.
All right. Ed, you already picked this game.
Yep.
Matt.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Lions too. I don't believe in Green Bay's running game. I don't think they have one. I don't care what Ty Montgomery did against the Bears. It's a nice story. I think they'd gotten very fortunate with the schedule down the stretch, other than the Seattle game, which they did play really well. I just think everyone's just right. They think this is, they're all of a sudden Green Bay is just a Super Bowl team. I don't buy it. I think their defense has so many holes. And the Lions at home, if this game was in Lambeau, I think Green Bay would win it. This game's in Detroit. I think Detroit is I thought they looked really good last night for quite a while. And, granted,
really?
It did, yeah. When they won 21-14, I thought they looked really, really good. They were scoring at will, and the defense is playing a little bit better. They need Darius Slay in their secondary. I think that will really help if they get him back. But I think Green Bay's going to have trouble with the Lions, and I don't think the Lions are going to have problems moving the ball. They've got weapons all over the field, and I don't think Green Bay can cover them. I don't. And the other thing is, I watched the Viking game this past weekend. Green Bay finally got some pressure on the quarterback, but that's because the Vikings' offensive line is putrid.
Plus, the Vikings still put up, 25 points?
Yeah. Clay Matthews, we finally had a Clay Matthews sighting for the first time in like 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's because that left tackle is so bad. He's not going to do that in Detroit. I don't buy it. I think this is the end of the road, and the Lions will win the game.
All right. I guess I got to pick this one. This is my pick of the week. Matt Stafford throws 5 touchdown passes. Detroit wins the game 42-35.
Wow.
I think Green Bay is terrible defensively. They can't run the ball. I mean, they can't stop the run. They can't defend the pass. They've got Aaron Rodgers. Matt Stafford is, if nothing else, Matt Stafford's a tough dude, especially at home. And this is the biggest game that's been played in Detroit since, maybe 1991 when he beat the Cowboys in the playoffs?
Exactly.
That's a long-ass time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 1991. I mean, even Brian was young then.
That's
how long ago it was.
3 presidents ago? 4 presidents ago? That's
I don't know. But I think Detroit wins the game. I think they're a tough football team. It's not like they got blown out in New York. They turned the ball over twice inside the red zone, which was basically the difference in the game. And let's face it, last night they put up 21 points on Dallas. Dallas is a better football team than them, but I will say this. If you watch Dallas play Green Bay in Lambeau Field, you saw Dallas kick the living crap out of Green Bay. So I think to compare Green Bay and Dallas is stupid because they're on completely different levels. You got one team with an offensive line, a running game, and a defense. The Green Bay has a quarterback. And I just think their time runs out. Even if it doesn't run out here, they're going to get smashed by a Dallas or Atlanta in the playoffs anyways. They can score points. They can't stop people. And they're not playing the Minnesotas. I mean, Minnesota's defense is so banged up, there's not much left there. Their offensive line is banged up. I mean, how many really good teams has Green Bay beaten this year?
Well, that's just it. Look at this run. They played Philadelphia, who was just awful. They played Houston in Lambeau, who was awful. Seattle actually was playing with them pretty well.
Well, Houston played with them, too, if I remember.
What's that?
Houston gave them a game, too.
They gave them a game, which is crazy.
The division winner.
But the only reason Seattle lost the way that they lost is because every time there was a play to be made, a ball just popped up straight up into the air right to a Packer. It's not like they went out and made a great play.
Yeah, and Ed, is there a division the Houston Texans would even contend in outside of the one they won?
No, they wouldn't.
No way.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know if you can discredit that win. I mean, at the end of the day, they beat a playoff team. I think that.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. They did beat Seattle, and no doubt about it. But I saw a lot of really crazy balls popping up into the air right to a defender. It was like 4 times.
Yeah, bad bounce, but they fit, 5 picks. I mean, At some point,
Matt
you
is
got
a
credit
big-time Green Bay Packer hater, Ed, so you got to
They've been playing a lot
Well,
better.
I'm just saying. I mean, was that not really fortunate?
Well,
but I give them credit for that win, but that was the only quality win.
I would add this too. It's not often that a quarterback, and I don't care how confident, I don't care how much of a franchise quarterback he is, that says we're going to run the table. The cliche is we're not thinking past this week. You know, that's what you're supposed to say. But there's a reason why he said that, because he looked at the schedule and he said, hey, these are all winnable games.
Yeah, it's not like he was playing like, look what Detroit had to play.
Right.
I don't think Matt Stafford would have come out and said, we're going to run the table with Dallas and the Giants and the, you know. I mean, that would be crazy.
He would be
well, then again, though, with Green Bay Packer fans being what they are, he went out and said that so they don't get off the ledge.
Of course.
Yeah, right.
That's how it works around here.
It was the relaxed thing. You know,
yeah,
that thing
same thing. Is to chill everybody out because they were all going apeshit. Because there's nothing else to do in Green Bay except watch the Packers.
And the Badgers.
Oh, and the Badgers. Yeah, because the Badgers count. But, all right. The Badgers don't count. But, all right, any final words, Ed?
You know, I'm excited. I'm excited for the season to come to an end and the playoffs to begin. I think it's pretty interesting. I think there's a lot of teams that are capable of winning it this year. And I hear a lot of people talking about, you know, only a select few, but I see a window, man. I think this NFC is wide open, and you know, I'm excited to see it going forward. I got this week on the Big Star Show, we got a former Cowboys receiver and Buckeyes receiver, Doug Donnelly. So
I remember Doug Donnelly, number 83, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. White Lightning, they called him in his day. Really, really fast young receiver, taken in the second round. Played a few seasons under Dallas, and shoulder injury eventually, you know, led him to an early retirement. But he was, you know, a good guest, and it's an exciting interview, and should be up tomorrow morning. Check that out.
All right, we'll definitely look forward to that. You can find that on thegruelingtruth.net. And my take on it is this. I'll give my final thought now. I think the NFC is completely wide open. I think anybody that gets in it can win it. I mean, the Washington Redskins, I think, are dangerous with Kirk Cousins because you never know when he's going off, and their defense seems to be getting better. But to me, I think it comes down between Dallas and Atlanta. In the AFC, I think it's New England and then everybody else. I think Pittsburgh's probably their biggest threat. Brian?
Yeah, the NFC playoffs are going to be fun to watch. There's really no clear-cut favorite, and I could very easily see one of those where the road teams are the ones that are getting the wins. I just think it's going to be a crazy playoffs. And I agree, the AFC I think will be a New England-Pittsburgh kind of a deal, and you know, and we'll see what happens there. I mean, I think New England is just so freaking good. They're hard to beat, but I think probably the only team that really would have a shot, and it's just because of the offense, would be Pittsburgh. But it's a long shot.
All right, Oz.
Well, if this is the predictions part of the show, I think it's New England versus the field. I think you can just roll it.
I thought it was New England against Detroit. You picked Detroit for like a month.
Yeah, but I mean, look,
you watch, they're going to the Super Bowl now.
Okay. Well, yeah,
and you won't be able to get credit for it. The best
you won't get credit for
the year, and you wouldn't get credit for it.
I suppose I should not get off the horse because I can.
You got to stay on that.
I can imagine scenarios when Detroit might win it all. But, I mean, it's like the theme of the show has been saying, and it's like all you guys have been saying. The NFC is wide open. I mean, there is a window of opportunity here. I think a lot of people think that Dallas is going to be around for a long time with that young nucleus that they have, for example. Now, do they win the Super Bowl this year? Do they win it young and early, or is it next year? You know, stuff like that. Is it a fluky year? Do the Lions sneak in? Is it one of those ones where it's a one-off? You know, they just catch lightning in a bottle and they sneak in there. You know, like the Chargers and Stan Humphries that one year. I mean, do they just sneak in like that?
Yeah, but the Chargers that one year, they'd also made the playoffs and won a game in '92, which was 2 years before that also. So it wasn't like they just came out of nowhere and weren't any good.
Yeah, Yeah, but the Lions haven't been horrible as of late, have they? They were in the playoffs a couple of years back, were they not?
2011, wasn't it?
2011, yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's like 5 years ago,
flies.
so just stop.
Wow. Sorry. Wow. I had no idea it was that long. I mean, seriously. California time flies.
It's been rough for them.
But anyway, yeah. And also I would say go Rams. Listen to the LA Rams 2.0 show here at thegruelingtruth.net. That's co-hosted with Tony Hunter, formerly of Notre Dame, Buffalo, and Los Angeles Rams. This week we have Ron Brown, former kick returner, wide receiver, all-pro, and also gold medal record-setting, relay runner at the 1984 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. So a really good show this week. Is that up now, Mike, or is it going out?
It'll be up tomorrow.
As this thing is up, more or less. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So there you go. Have a listen for that.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think the NFC is so wide open. Any one of these teams that are contending can go, and I think if New Orleans made the playoffs, they would have just as much of a shot.
Sure.
Any one of these teams could go on a run. There's no doubt about it. So they will be fun to watch, and I totally agree. New England and Pittsburgh is almost a guarantee in an AFC Championship game. So,
which means it won't be.
Yeah, it's possible, but
every time you think that, I mean, anybody thinks that. Anytime somebody that was going to be this, it almost never is.
Well, New England's
I
been
think this
in
year
the championship
should be
quite often.
It would be a big surprise if it wasn't.
Well, it's a wonder all of a sudden just picking the Houston Texans against the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, there you go. There's your Super Bowl.
But, the NFC playoffs are going to be good. Any one of these teams could go on a run, no doubt about it.
All right, Brian, you want to tell everybody about your Steelers show since you're the one that forgot to bring it up?
I've brought it up a couple times already. We'll have our Steelers Weekly.
Bring it up at the end. Jeez, I guess you figured since Oz did it, Oz is always wrong, that he probably shouldn't do it.
He's putting us to shame, Mike. He's doing the kick-ass job on promotion in this show. He's killing us.
I'm just having him finish it up.
But, yeah, we've got Steelers. We'll talk about the Terry Bradshaw comments and me and Dwight Stone and get Dwight's take on a few things. We'll talk about, of course, the Baltimore game and should the Steelers sit starters or should they not? And won't really talk too much about the playoffs until we get there. But going to be a lot to talk about. And in the Terry Bradshaw comments, really going to be interested to get Dwight Stone's take because he certainly has close ties even with the coaching staff now. So certainly going to be interesting to see what his take is on it.
All right, guys, and also make sure you check out the Green Bay Packers show, which is called the Green and Gold Weekly with Joe Pritchard and former Green Bay Packer quarterback Don Horn. I'm sure they may have a game to talk about this week. One of the few games that really matter for both teams with the Packers and the Lions playing for the NFC North Championship. Check out all of our shows, all of our articles on thegruelingtruth.net. You can also catch us on iHeart, iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Music. Anywhere you find podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So for Brian Schmidt, Ed Cohen, Matt Andruscavage, Lost Davis, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.